What? How are you at? What? Yo.
Everybody, I'm Larry Ridley, and this is the NFL on EA Sports. Two teams will need their quarterbacks to step up and lead their offenses on the gridiron today. It's Wilson Seahawks going up against Ryan's Falcons. So let's get over to the ATL, Atlanta. Standing by our commentary team of Brandon Guyton and Charles Davis.
Well, there's a new building set to open adjacent to us to the south, but for now, they're still playing football at the Georgia Dome, and that's where we're located here in downtown Atlanta. Today, we've got a good NFC matchup on tap between the Seattle Seahawks and the Atlanta Falcons. First carry for Thomas Rawls. And this defense feeling the encouragement. They stop him at the line of scrimmage on the first play of the afternoon. And here's a look at the starting offense. On second down, here's Wilson. And left side here, it's Graham. Only 3 yards on the catch. It's third down. And as we show you the starters defensively for Atlanta, I want to ask you about that Super Bowl. It's such an interesting game, but defensively Atlanta so good in that first half. What happened in the fourth quarter, and how will you remember them from this game?
I remember a really young defensive unit that the stage wasn't too big. They handled it right from the beginning. I remember a really fast defensive unit. Look at the speed. Grady Jarrett, defensive line, right? What do you have, 3 sacks in the game? Deion Jones from his middle linebacker position forced that fumble against LeGarrette Blount. Robert Alford as a cornerback, double-digit tackles. Now a lot of passes broken up. Pick 6 for a touchdown, 82 yards, a fumble recovery. But they were out there way too long. 93 plays given up to New England. At some point, you've got to get a stop and get off the field.
I don't know if I agree with that. I guess they don't care if I agree with that. But, boy, you have to be surprised by that, right?
I definitely was surprised that they decided to go for it in this situation. But they must have either felt like they either had a great play call on or they're trying to show extreme confidence.
And the grab made by Doug Baldwin.
Well, partner, tough loss for the Seattle Seahawks on the road at Atlanta in the playoffs. But Doug Baldwin, you know he's always going to compete. 5 catches, 80 yards, and a touchdown. Try to keep them in the game.
Earlier you were talking about the offense running through Russell Wilson. Doug Baldwin and the wideouts, how do you see that going forward for Seattle?
Well, I think that they are well-equipped there. They have to get Tyler Lockett back. He was injured late in the season. But Baldwin is a top-level receiver, finally getting the respect that he deserves. Jermaine Kearse is still around. Obviously, Paul Richardson came on late in the season. They have plenty of targets out there. They may go for one later in the draft, but I don't think it's a priority.
On second down, Wilson. It's caught outright by Graham. You know, Charles, for Graham, so much concern early in the season about whether he'd be ready to play this year, what would happen recovering from the tendon. Not only was he ready, he played every game this season for Seattle.
And it wasn't just the injury concern with Jimmy Graham. It's how Seattle runs their offense. Remember, when he was in New Orleans, he could expect a ton of passes to come his way. But in Seattle, that number was going to be reduced. Would he be able to maximize what they were going to throw in his direction? And he certainly did this year, 65 catches.
65 catches, just shy of 1,000 yards, 6 touchdowns, too. And the 8th play on this drive coming up. Now Wilson on second down. Oh, he'll want that one back. Incomplete. He doesn't drop too many in that department. Third down.
We know it's not an easy job to go out and catch passes when people are trying to tackle you and knock the ball away. But the bottom line is, that's a pass he's got to have and a pass he should have caught.
Now this now play number 9 on the opening drive, but it's 3rd and long. And some changes here as the D-line separates some. On 3rd down, Wilson. He's got Kearse. And he will score. Touchdown, Seattle. Jermaine Kearse, a 22-yard touchdown grab. And the Seahawks take the ball down the field and score on their opening drive. And his kick is right through. Hauschka now to send this one away following the score. This is taken near the 13. And he'll take this across the 25. A couple extra yards up to the 27-yard line. They'll run for the first time with Devontae Freeman. Give him 5 on the carry there, and it'll be second down. On second down, Ryan. And it's complete to Jacob Tamme. 30, past the 20. Touchdown, Falcons. Jacob Tamme, 68 yards. And the Falcons are an extra point away from tying the football game. When they drew that up, I don't think they envisioned it ending in a house call, but he got it and took it all the way home.
Really impressive run after the catch, wasn't it? That was really special by him. But let's face it, in today's NFL, those tight ends are often former wide receivers or maybe even sometimes bigger running backs. They just put them in a position to get a great matchup and make plays like that.
The Seattle now ready to march onto the field. And they will simply, Charles, be looking to duplicate what they did last drive when they were able to push it in for 6.
And they hope it'll be that easy, right? To be able to take exactly what happened before, replicate it. They may have to make a few additional changes along the way because I'm sure the defense will make some adjustments, but they've got to have great confidence having scored the last time out.
And he will be brought down at about the 43 that time. Give him 4 yards there. It'll be 2nd and 6.
In today's NFL, you hear all the time about stretching the field and creating space in order to run plays. A toss play will help accomplish that because now you're pushing a defense to chase you all the way to the edges and to the sideline. That's a nice run, probing now early to try and get things done later.
He lost 4 there, and it's 3rd down.
The evaluation process in today's NFL does not take into account as much bulk as it does speed, and that's what we're seeing with the linebacker position. Those guys that can run, they can play at any spot because they can make plays on the opposite side of the line of scrimmage.
He's going to rifle one deep left side. It's incomplete. Took a shot, couldn't connect. Alongside my broadcast partner, Charles Davis, Brandon Gaudin hits the Seahawks with a football to begin quarter number 2, but likely not for long as they're in punt formation to kick it away. The offense staying out there. They look prepared to go here on 4th and 10. They'll indeed go for it with Wilson. And that will be caught.
Damn it.
Out of bounds. Out of bounds. Ruled incomplete here. And now the possession will switch over to the Atlanta Falcons. And this offense so good for 3/4 of the Super Bowl, Charles. At one point, the advanced metrics had them at a 99.5% chance to win. It just seemed like everything was going their way, and then the 4th quarter happened.
I think when we review this game, and we say, okay, where did it get away from the Falcons? What was the number of plays the Patriots ended up running for the game?
93.
And the Falcons ran 46. So they wore down their defense on that one. But look at what they did on offense. They were averaging big-time yardage, running it, passing it, had everything going their way. A 25-point lead should still be enough to win the Super Bowl.
Yeah, almost 6 yards per rush, almost 9 yards per pass for the Falcons. They run. Devontae Freeman. And they'll get him down right about the 20. 11 carries, 75 yards for Freeman in the game against New England. But remember, a lot of those came on the first carry. He had a good second carry, but then they didn't use him a lot late.
Yeah, I saw them getting to the perimeter early. You see how they stretched out New England's big defensive line? And then as they substitute, they started to try and go back inside. But a lot of people think maybe they didn't run the ball enough in the Super Bowl and maybe even eat some clock, especially with the lead that they had. But they also were able to use Devontae Freeman in the passing game. Remember late, up 28-20, faked it to him inside, then threw it to the flat. And he got a big play that way as well.
On 3rd down, Ryan. Oh, he almost had the rare interception. The big fella couldn't hang on, though. Incomplete. So a field goal try here on 4th down as the Falcons call on Matt Bryant. Right hash, 37-yard attempt. And this one's knuckling it. It just does get over the crossbar. He didn't get much of it, but he got it to go. And they take the lead here now at 10-7. So a good kick there, and they wrap up the drive by putting 3 on the board.
And you know, let's face it, you're not always going to come away with 6. Defense in the NFL are just too good. But you've got to come away with something. And there, they get 3.
The Seattle now ready to march onto the field. And on that last drive, went for it on 4th, turned it over. A good job by their defense, though. They held them to 3, but this offense, they've got to be a little bit better, a little bit more careful here.
And sometimes when you see these calls on 4th down, when they decide to go for it, it's not necessarily the coach saying, I believe in my offense. Sometimes the coach saying, I believe in my defense. I can afford to go for it here, because if we don't get it, I don't think we'll give up more than 3. And that's exactly what happened.
You think that factored in? I
do. I think that he had that in his mind going into the game, that I'm going to be aggressive on offense because I know I've got a defense that can hold up their end.
On 2nd down, Rawls. They get 6 here after the incompletion, and it'll leave them with a 3rd and 4.
And once again, leverage wins. The offensive line, lower than the defensive front. They moved them and found some good space for the guy carrying the ball.
Third down and 4. From the gun on 3rd down, Wilson. It's caught. Lockett. They stop him for only 3 that time, and that'll bring up 4th down. 2 minutes to go here in the first half. We're back to Atlanta right after this timeout. And how about this one now? In their own territory, a gutsy call. They're going to go for this on 4th and a yard. Oh,
yes.
Looked like they got someone to jump there. And if that's the case, this will be a first down.
There you go. I went for it.
Throwing now, Wilson on 1st down. He can't bring him down.
The weight room does work.
And it pops free. The collision there jarred the ball loose and brings up 2nd down. And with that incompletion, partner, I get to ask you about New England being able to win the Super Bowl with so many unsung heroes. And this isn't new. They've got Tom Brady, but behind him, so many guys that aren't household names stepping up.
That is so true, and we hear all the time how they evaluate and how they develop players. And in this case,
this is caught inside the 15.
Let's go.
Give him
Get
a
mine.
gain of 38.
Get mine.
Well, we know he's got the speed there. He needed the speed and the hands. A great catch.
And because of that speed, you have to respect it as a defender. So you have to either play off or make sure you're somehow in contact with him. And he's able to do exactly what you said. Use the speed to his advantage and go up and get the football. That's a big-time play right there.
And the next snap coming inside the red zone here. First down, this is Rawls. And he is going to lose yardage here. It's a loss of a yard there, and now 2nd down.
Doesn't matter who you're rooting for in this game. The effort of the man with the football, getting away from one and trying to turn forward and get some yardage, I really liked what he did there.
On 2nd down, Wilson. That is caught. And he is in for the Seattle touchdown. Tyler Lockett, a 14-yard touchdown. And the Seahawks are going to retake the lead. And that makes it 14-10. Hauschka now to send this one away following the score. That'll be taken in the end zone. And a nice return sets him up pretty good here at the 30-yard line. Here comes the Falcon offense now as they get set to take over here. And what do you think goes on here in this situation? If you got the football, you're trailing, you're back in your own territory with just a little time. Do you try something?
You're thinking about jump-starting your team, right? You just mentioned they're down. They're trying to get back into the game. But you got to figure, if something goes wrong, you may have put yourself in a spot where you may not be able to come back in the second half. Managing risk, this is a big decision here.
2nd and 10. It's Ryan again. And incomplete
Get out that
there.
nigga hand, man.
Nice
That nigga
hit.
baby.
Jars the ball free and brings up 3rd down. And he's certainly not a guy that drops that football very often.
Indeed, because that's a bit of a surprise. I know he's in the middle of some traffic and people, bodies all around him, but he usually has the focus to haul that one in.
And on the outside, they're playing press coverage. From the gun on 3rd down, Ryan. And he fires one that's intercepted. Picked off by Deshaun Shedd. And the return stops at the 39-yard line. And Seattle now ready to march onto the field. And that recipe on their last drive that resulted in a touchdown looked pretty good, so they'll be hoping to do that once more.
And it takes me back to when we sat with the offensive coordinator and the head coach. They felt pretty good about their game plan, and Thought there were some holes in the defense, and they exploited them the last time out. Let's see if they can come back.
And he can't get rid of it. He's taken down. Adrian Claiborne able to drop him for a loss of a couple. Well, they were coming out of the 4-3 defensively. Pressure coming off that right side from the DN.
And that's the blind side of most quarterbacks. If you're right-handed, that's the side you don't see quite as well. And that's why you rely on your left tackle, maybe your highest-paid offensive lineman, to take care of you. In this situation, that didn't happen.
Baldwin with it over the middle. And he gets this one all the way down inside the 20-yard line.
I don't care how many times you tell the story, it never loses its luster for me. Doug Baldwin, undrafted out of Stanford, and plays like a #1 receiver should in the NFL. I don't care how you cover him. I don't care that his size isn't great. He's the one that typically comes up with the football.
Absolutely. His roots go all the way back to Gulf Breeze, Florida, where he's from, right on the water near Pensacola, and then, of course, to Stanford, and, boy, he's been good.
Yeah.
This is taken about 7 yards deep. And in hindsight, probably should have stayed where he was, as he'll only get back to the 16-yard line. So out come the Falcons now. They're down here, but very much in this game. What's the tonality of a coach's talk when a game is within striking distance like this at intermission?
Typically, what they're doing is emphasizing the things
You
that
don't do it anyway, dude. I'm sad. Don't do I love. Don't do nobody else. Fuck you, man. You know you gotta do that bullshit. I'm just saying, don't.
Second half, and we've got the football. Let's go and punch it in, and then we'll take it from there.
See how that recipe works.
Ooh, that needs help,
completes it to Julio Jones. And he takes it all the way down to the 32. A big play there. Ryan to Jones. 52 yards. This is Freeman on 1st and 10. And he'll get about 3 as he's brought down to the 28. Tackle made by K.J. Wright.
Not a run that you're going to write home about, but still a good first down run. That's what an offense calls staying on schedule. 3 to 4 yards on first down, you're set up very well for the rest of the drive.
On second down, here's Ryan. He's going to let it go deep.
No! Yes!
Now that'll be
Let's go!
Intercepted.
Yes.
Great read.
Get off me! Get off me, nigga!
The 10 to the 11-yard line.
Why this nigga This nigga boy, what's up, boy? Boy, where your mic at, boy?
First possession of the second half.
Where your mic at, bro? Yeah, boy, you don't want to talk shit today. Yeah.
After the interception, here's Wilson.
Oh, no, that was nice right there. I like that. Nice D.
So I want to talk about what you and I were discussing before the game. I asked you, what was the difference in the Super Bowl first 3 quarters versus the 4th quarter? What allowed New England to have that comeback besides Tom Brady?
I think now that we've had a chance to have a little perspective, right, to step back from it.
That was nice.
I'm sure we realized the accumulation of body blows that was going on in that game. And what I mean by that is the number of offensive plays New England was running. Because for the longest time, they weren't having great success, but they had the football, and Atlanta did not. And by the end of the game, New England ran 93 plays to Atlanta's 46. And Atlanta's defense was gassed by the end of the game, and that helped allow Tom Brady and that offense of the Patriots to come back, tie it up, and then win it in overtime. So I think we kind of missed that along the way.
Cut up, man, what the fuck, bro?
The tight end, Luke Wilson, was a target, and that'll bring up a 4th down. Here's John Ryan now, as his first punt will come from inside his own end zone.
You know what that is.
And it's fielded at the 34.
Don't do all that shit. Don't do all that.
And this offense will take over right
I just asked you goddamn. I just said. Your cousin.
Now the Falcons offense gets ready to head back onto the field. Looked like they had something going last drive. Then the interception happened.
Man.
The memory they need to keep with them is that they did have something going. They were moving the ball on offense.
Oh, they me.
Nice sequence
Oh!
going. Don't worry about the other part. You can't get that
back.
I'm putting before.
I'm putting pressure on that man out here, though.
Remember the good part, forget the bad.
I'm putting pressure on that man out here.
Looking to speed things up here.
I'm putting pressure on that man out here, man.
Now Ryan.
Oh,
And the hit jarred loose.
that shit out of his hand, boy.
Incomplete.
Hey, D.
Looked like they had an opportunity for a big play across the middle.
That's
He
huge.
didn't have the concentration or the focus necessary and dropped it
ain't
before
that
he got it
play.
in.
So incomplete on
I
second
don't
down. Now
do
they'll look to convert here on third. Ryan on the handoff. It's Freeman.
I hate doing like that. The team needs to do all that though, like that, like he can, bro.
He takes this one down shy of the 20. And the play goes for 19 yards. Gives him a new set of downs. Possible run anticipation here as the D-line sandwiches together. Now Ryan on first down. Incomplete on the right side.
Bro. What the hell you thought they were, bro?
Throw good for 4. It's second down.
Well, the strategy was evident there. Get it to your tight end and make it a one-on-one play with a cornerback. Who's usually going to win that one?
The tight end, but not there.
Not in this situation. How about the corner defeating that logic and making a really nice tackle?
And he's going to be intercepted the third time.
Sherman!
It's the Pro Bowl cornerback, Richard Sherman. And now following that play, we've got a man down.
Damn, boy, you just hurt my dog.
The secondary.
Nigga done broke his arm. That's fucked up, bro. I thought, man, he was talking like that, bro.
They come out here in the eye. Wilson, he couldn't quite hold it. Got hit. Ball pops out, incomplete.
Even in today's NFL, when we think of the tight end position now as really a glorified wide receiver, we're still asking a lot of those guys. They have to block as well, and every now and then, they don't come down with the football.
Second down here after the incomplete pass. Now Wilson down around his goal line. He rifles.
Oh, that was nice. That was nice. I like that. I like that. I like that.
And great field position coming up in the red zone at the 17-yard line. Well, they were obviously backed up, had a little bit of space from the goal line, snapping it from the 3, but still try to throw it, and...
Yeah, exactly. This is where hindsight is 20/20 comes into play, right? Seems like a good idea to throw the ball there. Maybe you'll surprise them and catch them off guard. Instead, you've created a turnover and put your defense in a bad spot.
Boy. He right, nigga.
Fullback, the one he was looking for. And it's second down.
How many times when we see an incomplete pass, we just look at the receiver and say, should have caught that one. That was a drop, and we just put it on the offense. How about a little credit for the defense there? They just forced an incompletion.
Yeah, especially after starting in a tough spot.
That was nice. That was motherfucking nice.
Falcon touchdown.
That was motherfucking nice, man.
From 17 yards out. And the Falcons have once again taken the lead. And it's up and good. Now after the touchdown, it's Bosher to kick it away. Tyler Lockett now with a return. And a good return. He's across the 35-yard line, right around the 36. And Seattle now ready to march onto the field. And following the interception, we'll see what they can put together on this drive.
I can hear my old college coach right now. He always used to tell us before every game, the team making the fewest mistakes will win. What they're hoping is that last mistake is their only one of the game.
Coaches, that's all they talk
about. Go.
Turnovers, right?
That boy out there, break. That boy out there, break.
Give him 9 on the carry that time, and they're set up with a second and 1.
That boy wanted out there, man. That boy wanted out there,
just
man.
one.
I want you to know that, but that boy wanted out there,
all
man.
around. Excellent blocking, but the guy carrying the ball, he was the finisher.
You ain't gonna like this one, man. I'm just gonna let you know that. You ain't gonna like this. You ain't gonna like what I'm gonna do. You gonna have to call him.
It's a 9-yard gain, and it keeps the drive moving. So they pick up the first down after the run, and now they approach for the fresh set. Rawls, the lone man in the backfield. And they'll go ground game here with a tailback. And his rough afternoon continues. He's going nowhere again. No gain on the play. It'll be second down. Back now in Atlanta. It's been a very hotly contested game to this point. Just a field goal separating these two teams as we get set for the fourth quarter. So they're still at the original line of scrimmage here. 2nd down and 10. Wilson, a give to Rolls. And he's brought down. It's a gain of 11 yards that time, and it produces a new set of downs.
Well, so much for him being bottled up throughout the day. Finally finds a way to break through and get a really nice gain. The defense had felt great about what they had going. Now they've got to turn their attention to getting it back in that direction. Can they bottle him up again? Because I'd say after that run, confidence is pretty high for him.
Wilson going to give to Rolls. And able to push his way forward here for a good little gain. It's a pickup of 4, and it'll bring up 2nd down.
We always like to talk about defense in terms of levels. 1st level defensive line, 2nd level linebackers, 3rd level defensive backs. On that run, that was what we call a 1st level run, and it was stopped by a 2nd level player.
And after the play on the ground, that brings up 2nd down here. They'll hand to Rolls. And he'll take this inside the 30 to about the 29, maybe the 28-yard line. It'll be a pickup of a couple, and it leaves them with a 3rd and 3.
Tough day, tough sledding right there, and it's been that way the entire game. Not a whole lot of room to ramble for him.
Yeah, you're right. It's been that way all afternoon. Didn't get a whole lot better there. Just a 1-yard pickup there, and it'll be 4th down.
Now, that was a big-time play by the defense. They as well knew where the 1st down line was, and they didn't let them get anywhere near it.
Y'all go on ahead and act that Madden, bro.
1 score down. Here we go. They're going to go for it here on 4th down. They'll go with Procise.
Oh!
He needed 2, but he doesn't come anywhere close. And the Falcons defense stands tall to get the football back. Atlanta now coming out on the field. And they were able to punch it in the end zone last time. They'll be looking to do that again here for the defense. Obviously, they'll be looking to stop them from punching it back in the end zone.
It always is punch-counter-punch, isn't it?
Oh!
Julio Jones all alone. Touchdown.
Ooh, lucky motherfucker.
Julio Jones, 73 yards. And the Falcons will extend their lead.
Well, it'd be real easy to say that they are firmly in control right now, but I'm looking at your face and I'm thinking I've got to be careful with that.
Well, it's a 2-score game. You're inside of 2 minutes. I think you can breathe relatively easily now.
Yeah, you can, but still, you got to stay vigilant. Can't give up anything cheap and easy. That could put you in some jeopardy.
And they're going to start this drive in pretty good shape as they get it up past the 30. As Seattle now ready to march out of the field. And last time out, went for it on 4th down, turned it over, gave them great field position, turned into 6 points, so they've got to recover here, Charles.
It's amazing what one decision can do in the chain of events, right? The decision to go for it on 4th down.
Caused all of that. It's caught inside the 25. Now whistles come in. We're going to get a timeout here by the offense. It's just their first. They've got 2 more to use here in the final stages. Now Wilson. He's going to let it fly. And he bats it away, and it falls down incomplete. The intended target, Doug Baldwin. And now it's 2nd down.
And that play was what every defense is wary of. The big strike attempted downfield, but they were in excellent position. They didn't get fooled, and while he didn't come up with the interception, was able to bat the ball down.
And he fires one incomplete. Tyler Lockett was the target there. And that takes us from 2nd to 3rd down. Defense has set themselves up nicely. 3rd and 10 now. Here's Wilson. He dropped it. Couldn't hang on in the end zone. So no 6 points, incomplete.
After all the preparation, all the practice, a play like that will absolutely break your heart. They had everything they wanted, just unable to complete it. In the end zone, a big-time drop.
And Hauschka's kick is good. And the drive will wind up yielding 3. All right, so now then, the field goal puts you back within 1 score, but I'd be surprised if this is not an onside kick coming up.
Yeah, you still got the 2 timeouts, but I think...
And now a timeout defensively by the Falcons. It's just their first. They've got 2 more to use here in the final stages. And this one travels out of bounds, so unsuccessful there on the onside kick try. And the D-line pinching together must be expecting the run. Now Ryan going to give it to Freeman. It's a loss of 2 there, bringing up 2nd down.
Brandon, that play ended so fast, it's almost as if the quarterback handed it to the runner, and the tackler was there right away for a loss of yardage.
Here we go with 2nd and 7. Looks like the defense in press coverage here. They come up in an offset eye. To throw is Ryan. Going up top. And the defense loses him. It's complete. Touchdown, Falcons. Julio Jones with now 2 fourth-quarter touchdowns. And the Falcons will add on to their lead. And the lead is up to 14. Now after the touchdown, it's Bosher to kick it away. That's fielded in the end zone. Now on the return, oh no, the ball is loose. And he will get back to at least cover this. Certainly a sigh of relief there. But his offense going to be set up deep in their own territory now. So the challenge comes in inside of 2 minutes, and it gets overturned.
And it changes the whole format of what's about to happen because both sides had thought a certain call had been made. Now they have to flip back and start over.
Rawls, the lone man in the backfield. Here's Wilson. Now a desperation throw deep. He's got a man. Complete. And he takes this one into the end zone, and all of a sudden, here in the final minute, things get a little bit tighter.
And there's the touchdown that they needed, so they'll celebrate. But the guys on the sidelines, they've got to stay focused. The onside kick team, they need them to get the ball back.
Yeah, part 1 of the equation done. Now they need to convert and get that onside kick. And it's no good. Oh, he misses the extra point, and our score stays right where it is. So there is still time, a little over 50 seconds to go, but this becomes a critical onside kick. And the Falcons going to use another timeout. That'll leave them with just 1 remaining in this 4th quarter of play. And this is going to be covered up by the Falcons. And that should just about seal it. Well, 4th quarter, they felt like they needed the football back. Unfortunately, they couldn't get it.
And I know we brought analytics into the game, and someone has said here that the data says that when a team's expecting an onside kick, 80% of the time, the team expecting it, they do actually recover the ball, which is what we saw here. I just wonder if that number is much more of a anecdotal type of a number. Kind of like when the coaches tell us, well, when you score on special teams, 93% of the time you win the game. I'm still waiting to see that number is empirical.
Officially no gain on the play, and it's 2nd down. They had a great read there from his free safety position. And, Charles, you know with those guys, it's all about their eyes. They have to be laser-focused.
Yeah, I had to fake my way through it when I was playing, but now I can see exactly what they're doing. And on that play, he obviously had no presence to feel like he's being pushed for a pass. And without that, that allowed him to get up to the line of scrimmage and hold him to no gain.
Well, certainly a tough loss here, but they've got to move on. I mean, you have another opponent next week. You dwell on this one, it hurts you the following week.
That's where the 24-hour rule comes into play, win or lose for all teams. Either enjoy the win for 24 or reflect on the loss for 24, then put it aside and move forward.
Cool.
So that's a wrap for Charles Davis. I'm Brandon Gaudin, and this has been a presentation of the NFL on EA Sports. For more, check us out at easports.com. It's a win for the Falcons here as we say so long from Atlanta.